Good evening, everybody. How is everybody doing? Hopefully, everybody's okay. Uh, Glad to see you back. Glad to be back. We are here again. This is the African Speaks. We're dealing with this topic of the power of the divine self. And we're on chapter 29 now. Ain't that something? We coming close to an end. We getting there. And so on this journey, when we got more than halfway through, we began to talk about that this particular journey is knowing thyself. It's all about knowing who you are in the time and the space in which you exist in. Knowing thyself. Not what the world told you, not what your psychological conditions tell you, not what your trauma tells you, but this is who you were called to be. And there are processes and procedures and experiences and rituals and sacraments and all these things that you can go through to get to that point of understanding who you are. And so we dealt with the chapter 27, and this is just a quick recap. We're going to recap for you so that those who are playing catch up can be caught up. My love, catch up can be caught up. And so we sat down and said, seeking the divine alignment, which is within you, because we said we're going further and further into your own consciousness. And so after the chapter before this one, when we were dealing with the shadow work, when we start doing shadow work, you start then asking, once you start working on the shadow work and you start minimizing the traumas within, minimizing the hurt within, minimizing the pain within, and realigning yourself to a deeper identity of self, you can then begin to start speaking to be lined up with the assignment of life that you were called, because we said everybody has a purpose, everybody has a talent and skill, and everybody's here for a reason. And that's when you start asking for, I seek to be divinely aligned with my most greatest purpose, my most greatest mission, doing my most greatest good. And that's after you start getting through the shadow work, because you can't get to that point in you where you're getting aligned if you are not functioning from beyond whatever early traumas that you have. And then we have traumas as black people. We have traumas that date back since slavery. And we're trying to get to the point where we're functioning as beings on this earth who can exist without that particular scar. So that's when you're asking for that divine alignment. And now after we went from there to saying, okay, so now I'm inside myself, I'm inside my own level of consciousness, I'm understanding who I am, whose I am, and I can also begin to rewrite this spiritual code that's within me. This consciousness, this whatever has altered your state of being in the socialization factor. Because when you come into this world, no, you're not. You might be born into a world of sin, but you don't come in this world sinful. You come into this world pure, directly from the Most High, directly from your source, directly from the divine entity, directly from pure divine consciousness, and you come connected. And in once you get socialized, then it kind of sometimes you get socialized according to the family environment or whatever the situation is. And we said for black folk, for the African diaspora, we have to rewrite the spiritual code because we were told what we weren't for the last 400 years. And so just recently, we are getting to having an experience where we get to redefine ourselves. So what does that look like when you begin to do that? What are we reaching for? Are we seeking just to be a part of the world that created us? Or are we seeking to be a part of the universal energy, divine energy that called us into being? That's when you start rewriting your code, your strengths, your loves, your desires, rewriting your skill sets. Now, in that space, also, as we move forward, there are two chapters that is going to compile into this, which is, I always say, because everything is going to lean into everything else. Make sure you take a look at chapter 2 if you haven't seen it, the atomic particle. You got to understand that the smallest part of us vibrates at a certain particular frequencies. And so understanding that everything vibrates at a particular frequency. An atom, every molecule has consciousness in it. So she said, love that. How, one love, Najuma, how can you be created in the image or the essence of the creator, but say you're born sinful? Exactly. Exactly. African spirituality, that's not from us. That is not from our culture. That is not from our heritage. That is not from the essence of how we saw ourselves connected to the greater being of the universe. Not at all. And so in that space, vocal utility, what we speak, the power of the voice. Now we tapped a little bit of this. Those two chapters will be touched here, not necessarily focused, but just touched. And you'll get a greater understanding of this chapter if you go back and take a look at those, because there may be some areas that might say, hey, can you reiterate some of these things? This particular chapter is a combination of quite a few of them, but basically these two. And so chapter 29 is based on the vibrational language of liberation. The vibrational language of liberation. And I'm going to say it's August. And this is Garvey month for our community. We do Garvey every week. And I got to give a shout out to the frequency vibrational being that was and still is Marcus Garvey, because he definitely vibrates within the whirlwind of multiple levels of consciousness across the diaspora. Yes, absolutely. And so in this conversation, when we have this vibrational language of liberation, we're going to take a look at what that looks like for us as a people. And we will say we are vibrational energy. We are everything. The more and more you focus on the power of the divine self, the more meditation you have, the more ceremonies and rituals you go through, you will realize that you are vibrational energy. When we talk about your thoughts, and we talked about the how we were crafted this way, where we said in this Proverbs, as man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So we said the heart and mind coherence. What vibrations are your thoughts on? And is it connecting to what your heart is? Because a lot of us go through life doing things that we're not passionate about. So we have limited amount of success. We have limited amount of achievement. But when your mind knows that this is the gift that the divine gave you, and your heart feels that you are living a journey of purpose, there's a different level of accomplishment. There's a whole different perspective of how you see yourself. It's the way you vibrate and walk in the room. There is a change that comes about the energy, because we are energy beings. And as as you continue to dive deeper and deeper, we're going to talk about that in some of the chapters to come, where we are vibrating at frequencies that either give life or give death. And for 400 years, we have been vibrating on frequencies that give death. Garvey came about and said, no, we're about to change this. But he said his issue was, only if he knew how to make man. Let us make man. And when you talk about letting us make man, that is in the image in which we were called to be. And your mind and your heart have a lot to do with that. And so when we sit down and we talk about knowing thyself, we have to understand that thoughts plus your emotions and your feelings equal the energy and vibrational frequency in which you exist in. your thoughts, your emotions, and your feelings. So that is the mind of the mind of the brain and the mind of the heart coming together. Now you can sit down and say, I am smart, but you really don't believe it. I am gifted, but you don't really believe it. I am powerful, but you really don't believe it. That's your mind saying something that your heart doesn't believe, and that's a low vibrational frequency. And so the trick to this process, and we talked about this in previous chapters, is that heart and mind coherence. What you believe about the world around you and how you connect to it, and what you think about who you see in the mirror will have a lot to do with how you vibrate toward a space of liberation. We said, well, okay, well, when you talk about liberation, who are we liberating? We're liberating you in this process, in this journey of understanding the power of the divine self is liberating you. Now, people, we have this dialogue, I'm not a slave. Are you sure about that? I'm free. Do you understand what freedom truly is? If you're not a divine expression of the energy and power of the source that created you, and if you cannot say, I'm living in my life of purpose, there's a break right here. And so when you're dealing with the liberation, the vibration, the language, the vibrational language of liberation, you start talking as though you understand, I have to break free of the chains that are in me. That's what the previous chapters are about, the meditation processes. And in that, we're talking about how you resonate, how things resonate in you, which is important. A related harmonious chord struck of a chord, that a vibration, and we're going to go with the bottom vibration. You have that continuing to continue to produce loud and clear, deep sound for long periods of time. Vibration. When we talk about speaking, meditating, talking to yourself, going in, and we'll get into that. We're talking about continued resonance, something that agrees with your mind and your heart, getting yourself to a place where you do the shadow work, you get behind your fears, you move out. And we did this in service in our Garvey day. You move the enemy out of your mindset, your spirit, and your heart, which is any teachings that takes you away from what you were designed to be and do. You don't let it have free real estate inside you. You allow your mind and the heart to come together to resonate a particular vibration. Why? Because everything and all things is energy. And that's it. I don't know what just happened. But everything and all things is energy. And we're going to be able to do this because we have something wrong with the camera. So we're going to do this without it. Everything is energy. Everything vibrates with energy. And we're in that space. We live in a world where the whole world is based off of this energy. There is nothing about who we are and what we do in this world. This whole galaxy resonates from energy. And everything about us, everything around us, and there's not one thing that does not have a vibration. Colors have a vibration. Sound, every organ in your body has a vibration. One of the most powerful elements in the world and this proves that everything responds from frequency. It's water has a vibration. Water is the most powerful thing in almost any ritual. You can't exist in this world without water. And so in that space, we even use water in rituals to talk to as a means of communing to your ancestors. This is one of the reasons why people love to be around water. It is proven, scientifically proven, that if you speak to water and water freezes over, when you speak to water and water freezes over, it crystallizes in a particular way. Anytime you talk to water or you play music to it, you send a sense of gratitude to it, each word has a vibration that is recorded in water. And so it changes. So wait, you trying to tell me water is affected by how you think, how you feel, and what you say to it. It's why you can water a plant and speak mean to the plant. Why? Because that water is now polluted. And so there is no nourishing the vibrations of that plant. Then you can water a different plant sitting right next to it with the same jug of water, but speak to the water differently. Pray on the water. Praise over the water. Watch something change. When that happens, you get to a point where you're like, wait a minute, water changes? Yes. And so in that space where we are more water than anything else, we are more water. You can sit down, and I remember a brother's name was Irungu. He gave the conversation during a sermon that due to the fact that water has memory, and when you speak over water, it can change the entire environment of everything that happens. So when you speak to yourself, so when you next time you say a prayer, don't say a prayer to an entity that is outside yourself. Say a prayer to the water that exists in you. I have a habit. I normally have about 5 cases of 24 bottle cases of water. I pray over each case. So when I open it, if somebody gives me an independent bottle of water, yeah, I'm praying over it. Why? Because when I access the water, when I drink the water engages me. It's a blessing to me. That's what they call holy water. And I remember a sister was watching me. She says, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm making my water holy. I don't drink anything that I don't like. You don't want to eat anything that is not blessed. Why would you drink anything that's blessed?" And then after knowing and seeing how water changes according to the words you give it, the essence of it. If you look at the bottom half of the screen, the bottom half is all polluted water with no real structures. So that's in your body. So when you speak negative, you are creating a vibrational being that is functioning on low frequency. But when you speak positive to yourself, you're creating a being that is functioning at a high frequency. This is why people love going on vacation near water. Because going on vacation near water, there is no way that nature knows how to not be in tune with the universe. When you're walking and you're experiencing and even just looking at it on a piece of paper, looking at an image of it brings you a sense of tranquility. The vibrational language of what God created, the Most High or the Source, or the universe, however you want to say it, functions in a state of high vibrational frequency. It's a language of harmony. Nature is a language of peace. Nature is a language of serenity. Nature is a language of power. Nature is a language of creativity. When you're in that space, the energy that is in that space, the vibrational language of liberation that is in that space that cannot be deformed. You walk in that space, somehow you get corrected. Somehow you get reset. Somehow you get readjusted. It's not about just going to a place having fun. It is what happens to you, to some people, unconsciously. To others, definitely conscious. We also know other things have vibrations. Food, how you eat has vibrations. Whether or not you are eating properly or improperly will determine what vibrational frequency you're going to move in. Again, the vibrational language of liberation deals with the issue of high vibration or low vibration, life or death. What do you ingest? Are you ingesting life for the body in which you exist in, or are you ingesting something that does not serve the being that you are? And this is why diet was so important. And at one point, we had to eat whatever was given to us. Whatever was given. We were giving plates of diabetes. We were given plates of hypertension. We were given plates of high blood pressure. We were given plates, a diet of disease and disorder, a dysfunction. And when are you free? Because if you can look at this and you realize that I eat more low vibrational foods and I eat high vibrational foods, do you really see yourself as being liberated? Which means that there's a higher place for us to function in. They say if God didn't make it, don't take it. And I know for us in our community, we had a diet called the macrobiotic diet, and we lived by it. It's like a transitional diet. And so to know that I am trying to liberate, create the right environment around myself where I'm seeking to liberate my mind, my body, and my spirit. Your diet has a lot to do with it. Now, when we're fasting and we're going into those, we're only drinking water, know that you have to pray over your water to change the frequency of your water, the vibration, and then give it an assignment. Yes, you can give water an assignment. The same way you even with your food, give it an assignment. Not only being grateful for the food that you receive, but also give the food an assignment. May it nourish my mind, my body, and thy spirit so that I can be aligned to my greatest good. The water in your diet, the nutrients, then will vibrate at that frequency. People don't understand we're a system. We are a beautifully designed system to get to our most highest selves. We are talking about the vibrational language of liberation. Everything has a vibration. Everything is either high or low. There's no neutral vibration. You are speaking life or death. Well, maybe if somebody goes, indifference. Maybe indifference is a mid zone, but it's a choice. You got to make clear choices. Definitely make clear choices. And so when we sit down and we talk about high vibrational energy, colors have vibration, and so do outfits. Now, the movie The 12 Years a Slave, I don't know what about that movie, but I can watch it over, then I can watch it over, and I can watch it over. Because I'm looking at the character who understood who he was, but then watched the world drag him into a space where he knew his essence was higher than the environment in which he was in. And he never allowed that to detour him. That's when you know you are a high frequency being. But when you look at how you dress, if we can see what a slave looked like during the times that slavery existed, and this particular was the period of 1853. Now you can't tell that in his mind and his body and his spirit, he didn't feel like what they said he was. And in his mind and his body and his spirit always sought the opportunity. I'm going to find a way out of this. And he never let go of that. And it took 12 years for his thoughts to rearrange the universe around him so that he can get back to the experience of life he knew he deserved. I saw what it was like to be free, to be liberated to a particular extent according to the time in which he lived in. And I'm going to fight and stay hopeful until my time comes, because I will get back there one way or the other. That's when you have a sense of righteous indignation and you begin to fight. You begin to struggle, strive, or you begin to spiritually, and this is real because he couldn't stop slavery. This shows you the power of vibrational language of liberation. He couldn't seek it out for every. Garvey said, I'm going to use this vibrational language of liberation, and I'm going to heal the whole diaspora. This brother didn't have that opportunity. But within 12 years, he was able to think something. There's got to be an opportunity for me. There's going to be an opportunity for me. I'm going to maintain and sustain until there's an opportunity for me. And then he got it. 12 years. I said, woo. Now, in this space in which we don't have the constructs, the physical constructs that he had, the physical restraints that keep you from manifesting your divine self, we don't have those. So what is keeping us from even just the appearance of how we represent ourselves to sit down and say we are embracing back our culture? We're embracing back our traditions. We're embracing, we're taking back our knowledge of self, of who we are, connected to the Most High. We're connecting back to our ancestors and the power of our people. Because when that happens, there's a different visual vibration. It's a different visual vibration. They said you can't judge a book by its cover. No, you can't. But man, that read on that cover is saying something. If it doesn't say something about who they are, it should say something about who you can be. When you start looking, my father told me growing up, he said the most feared thing is a well-dressed, intelligent black man. I said, what? He said the most feared thing on this earth is a well-dressed, intelligent black man. And I sat down and I said, if that's what the world is scared of, that's who I want to be. I want what shakes the world. I want the awareness of my divinity. I want the understanding of who I am to the Creator. I want the insight of an ancestor of pure wisdom. I want to know what the colors mean. I want to know what the symbols mean. I want to know what to do with the candles and how to talk to the flames. I want to know how to interact with water so that I can communicate to my ancestors. I want to know how to treat the water so that when I drink the water it heals me. I want to know how to speak to the water, that when I watch the water go down the drown, I tell the water to go back through the pipes of the city. This is real talk. I fill my bathtub up, talk to the water, then I unleash the water. I speak it and I say, go back to the reservoir and speak to the water that is there. And any house that you go in where you have someone who is seeking a deeper sense of self, touch them, heal them. That is your assignment. Remember who we are and help us remember always. Now, one of the most powerful things when dealing with mind, body, and spirit liberation, according to the vibration, is absolutely, positively your word. Now, we know that your word is expressed in so many different ways. How you dress, how you eat, how you walk, how you work. Are you accountable? But it's also that how you think, how you feel, and what you say. And so in that space where you're saying, okay, so when you're dealing with the issue of word vibration, because every word has a vibration. If you saw water, you can say one word to it, say it over and over again. Love, 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 love. Freeze it and look at it in the microscope. You'll see the molecules of that water shape. And then you sit down and you do it again. Get the same, you let it thaw out. It'll remember that word love. And then speak peace, 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 peace. Freeze it and take it out. Look at it through a microscope. Your word is powerful. Your words are your feeling. Your words are your thoughts before it becomes action. People say action speaks louder than words. I said, hold up. My thought is more powerful than my action. My thought is more powerful than my action. If you love, you do. Okay. I can wish you love, happiness, growth, and development in a way that you'll never hear it. But every time I see you, what I feel, and I will always offer you just a smile. And that smile that I give you is a blessing that I see you through divine eyes. I see the God in you. And I offer myself in any best way I can. And if there's nothing for me to offer you because you don't need anything from me, my speech to the universe is powerful. Now, when you begin to start dealing with the vibration of your every word, the first thing that you have to think about, well, who am I talking to? The first person you talk to is yourself. How you see and speak to yourself is how you speak to everybody else. So if you have any doubt, any hesitations, any fears, you begin to speak what you are to other people. Ain't that something? People get mad because I can be pushy. Pushy for great achievement. Pushy for excellence. Why? Because I see divine in you. Why don't you see it in yourself? I literally lost the friendship behind that. And now the friendship is on its way back. Me and my youngest brother, the same. Brother, what? That is mediocre quality work. Do not distribute that. That doesn't show your best self. Go back. If you're going to do something pre-recorded, make it matter. And he pulled down, and now his skill set off the chain. But you have to speak to yourself. Speaking to self helps you understand what do you see? Your self-knowledge. How do you see yourself? What do you think? Your concept. How do you see yourself in God? Why are you here? Your self-esteem, is it high? Is it low? Your social self, how do you interact with other people? That is the first language. That's when you do that shadow work. Why? Because you got to get to a point where your greatest self is always the first thing on your mind. When you're dealing with the vibrational language of liberation, the first person you speak to has got to be you. Then we know that this is the spiritual warfare eternal battle. This eternal battle, who do you speak to when you speak to your lower self? That's easy. The deeper you go inside yourself, you start coming and encounter it with your highest sense of you. What? The higher vibrational being that you were called to be. You start calling it forth out of you. Where it's not something for a while, it'll be something that you speak to, that you got to get to. But then after a while, it becomes you. You finally on time. When you have a divination and you can ask your diviner, am I on time to manifest the goal that I was called here to produce? Some people are in tuned with their higher sense of selves at the moment in space and time in which we live. Divine alignment, look it up. Some people are in tune. Some people are late. Some people wasted time where you are not going to be able to complete the task that God brought you here for. So you got to come back. I'm trying not to come back personally. I'm doing everything that the God, to see the level that's here. What these next moves are for the next 3 months, I'm bringing the highest sense of self forth, and I'm not taking no shorts. Y'all will see. It's coming. It's coming. It starts next week. This week, actually. We're changing our times and our schedules to everything that we do here so that we can produce more. Yes, when you go in, your word, how do you speak to your highest sense of self? There is no begging here. There is no pleading. There is no hope. It is a declaration of, I need you to produce, and I need you to produce now. And you're engaging, your lower self is engaging. Take over. Help me become more disciplined so that I can manifest you. Mm. And as you continue going deeper, deeper inside this experience of the divine self, dealing with the vibrational language of liberation, where you're liberating your mind, your body, and your spirit, you start realizing there's deeper conversations. Now, not I'm only speaking to my lower self, where I'm telling myself to quit. I get to my higher self when I said, let's do it, let's go, let's get it. To now I'm speaking to the universe. Wait. What? You get to the point where inside you, this is not an outward experience. This is an internal experience where you realize that your language and your thoughts are having direct conversations with the cosmos. And for some, the divine source. You are vibrating with the primal energy of vibrations that created all vibrations. You go to your lower self, to your higher self, to the divine. Mm. And there's a before we get to the end of these chapters, this when we start dealing with the how to communicate, that's next week. How to communicate from that position. Mm. You'll start realizing one thing: your dreams are a conversation. Your daydreams are a conversation. Your quiet thoughts to yourself are a conversation, how you feel. If a negative thought comes in, that is the language that you give to the Most High, to the universe. It doesn't, the life doesn't give you what you want. Life gives you who you are. Life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you who you are. Life vibrates to you what you think about most. And if it's negative energy, you getting that. If it's doubt, you getting that. What you scared of, you getting that. You're going to get everything that you don't like. Why? Because that's the most thing on your mind. Because even when you sleep, the universe is always listening. It never turns off. This is why you got to get that heart-mind coherence down to a T. You have to get it to a point where it doesn't shake. Why? Because when you are not saying anything, you're still saying something. Sisters have an issue with how men treat them according to how they dress. Well, the vibrations you're giving off the world is less of a moral standard. I'm being polite. And so why do you always get that vibration? Because of what you came forward with. The minute that you sit down and say, I'm going to function from my highest state of self, I'm seeking, and your mind believes it and your heart believes it, the universe is always listening. Now, some things don't happen overnight. For some people, they do. But some people, they don't. Some things don't happen overnight. Some things, it takes a minute for the universe to shape the things around you so it aligns with what your request is. I know for me, I'm patient. I will sit down, and when I say, let's see what the universe brings. Why? Because I want to see what is being asked for. If you're asking for this, we'll get it, or we're not getting it. Let's see. And if the universe doesn't respond, that means, okay, we need to take some more time to speak to the universe and put out there what we really seek and what we really need and what you really hope for. And never respond like it's not going to happen. Never respond like it we're not gonna you're not gonna get it. Always know that the universe is always listening. And as long as you give the right thoughts, the right feeling, you manifest the correct vibrations. And it will come back to you every time. So they say be mindful of your self talk. And we're going to say that self talk is not just sitting your conversation with yourself, but it's also within your meditation. When you go through the shadow work, oh, this is too hard, then it's going to be too hard. You got to be able to say, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to resolve this. You can even give yourself a deadline. I'm going to overcome this. And then believe it and then work toward it like you already know that it's happening. When you realize that you're having a full dialogue in everything that about you, how you eat, how you walk, how you live, how you dress, everything is a manifestation of your walk. You realize that all of that is a full conversation with the cosmos. What language do you communicate to the cosmos? In rough, tight, and hard situations, you want to give the cosmos the most powerful voice you have to get change to manifest. Our ancestors went to the cosmos for 400 years. They took a people who understood who they were and gave them the brutality of ignorance. Now, even when they let us roam free, the ignorance of not knowing who we are stifles our growth as a people and as communities, as families, as communities, as a people. But when you start down this journey of the power of the divine self, and you start realizing I'm speaking to that which created all things, I'm a manifestation of that which created all things. There's a purpose because I come from that which created all things, and it doesn't create anything just to create anything. I have to have the vibrational language of liberation to become. And when that happens, when you start seeking it, you then begin to gravitate to a people that will see the world and life the way you see it. They say birds of a feather. That means vibrational frequency. The language of that vibrational frequency equals each other, and they say opposites attract. Yeah, but opposites don't produce. What produces in life, when you're speaking from frequency, is those who are like minded. Because the last thing you want is somebody shit what they say. You want to see failure, share a big idea with a small minded person. Mm. That's insanity. Why? Because they can't see it, they can't perceive it. You want someone who has the eye to see. And after a while, that happens. And that's what has been happening within our community. We have been getting to a point where we are generating vibrational language of liberation, and we are pulling each other together where all around the world you can see sparks of us becoming. They're not scared of one individual. My father said, the world is scared of a well dressed, intelligent black man. So if I sit down and say, I take that and elevate that statement, man as meaning mankind, a species, the world is scared of a well dressed, intelligent, black man genotype. That's black man and black woman. That is the power of black love. Because we will vibrate from a power of the divinity from within us in all things. When you sleep, your dreams are of liberation. Has anybody had that happen? Your dreams are of growth. When you sleep, you hear the conversations from your ancestors. When you are vibrating at a frequency of vibrational frequency of liberation, when you're there, you're getting downloads. When you're vibrating, when you have vibrational language of liberation, you create things that can help others also change. Again, this journey is different for us and them. They have their world that they called and created that is set to keep us second class beings to them. But when you go down this road, we realize you are the pinnacle of human design. The black genotype is the pinnacle of human design. The power of divine self will get you to realize who you are to the cosmic energy that created all things. Next, we'd have to get to a point where we use a vibrational language of liberation and we don't speak where we're asking or praying for something to happen. We exist in a state where we declare it and decree it and it manifests. That's when Garvey said, I don't see my man of big affairs. I'm going to create it. That was a declaration. It wasn't, oh, please help me. No, I'm going to create it. And in this space, the African Speaks will be the vehicle that helps create the information needed for you to find the African that speaks through you. That being that was called from the cosmic energy that created all things. We're going to make sure that we're making a change. We're going to Sundays and Thursdays live stream. I will continue this particular live stream until we finish this chapter, but the other chapters or other conversations and texts will happen on those days. You will see the advertisements go out, but we are making sure that we become who we are called to be, to produce what we are called to produce. So are you ready to experience the divine self that is within you? Hope so, because it gets better from here on up. One love.